Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Salukimania. I'm SIU writer Todd Hefferman, and with me is sports editor Les Winkeler. And we're here to talk some Saluki football and basketball. The Saluki football team hosts Illinois State in the home finale. It'll be senior day. Kickoff is at 2 p.m., and they will honor 17 seniors before the game. Illinois State's 5-5. I believe they're 4-3 in the league. This will be their last game of the year, while SIU plays this one and then plays Indiana State. They've been playing pretty well. They won 3 of their last 4 games. The loss coming against North Dakota State, who nobody beats. So they've also got a redshirt freshman quarterback, but he started most of the year. And Blake Winkeler, pretty good running game. Their defense has gotten a little bit better.
You gotta like the name, if nothing else.
Well, yes, it's even spelled like yours too.
No,
ironically,
it's different.
I think it has that extra E in it before the L. But nonetheless, he's a little bit more seasoned than Ryan West, and now Ryan West has lost his biggest target. Michael Pruitt's going to miss the game and next week because of a fractured tibia. They just found out about that Monday night. Told us Wednesday, which is fine, I guess, or Tuesday night. But nonetheless, he loses his biggest target. How much do you think it'll impact the game without having Pruitt?
Pruitt has caught a lot of passes, but I think he's just as important as a decoy. And they pay so much attention to. Everybody knows where Michael Pruitt is on the field all the time, and I think that may be the biggest loss where they're going to be able to double down on some other people now. And West may have a harder time, although they did use Pruitt quite a bit on Saturday. And you got to. The kid's tough. He got that. He was limping around early in the fourth quarter. He played the rest of the game on what turns out to be a broken leg. So that's pretty doggone tough. But no, that's a huge loss. I mean, when you look back over this season, the Salukis lost probably their 2 best offensive players. So it's going to be a struggle from here on out. It's been, less frankly, it's been a struggle. At 5-5, it's been a struggle all year, but we'll have to see if they get John Lance more involved in the game, whether or not Adam Feeney becomes a target in the passing game. If there's a tight end that's gonna come up, and obviously you're not going to fill the void with someone buried on your roster, but obviously they're going to have to make adjustments, and we'll just have to see what happens.
Feeney's bigger at 6'7", a little bigger target. Doesn't run as well after the catch, but they'll use him. Dalton Morgan will have a bigger role supposedly with Pruitt out. I imagine they will try to target maybe Stephen McKinney a little bit more than they have. Give him the ball a little bit more than they have in the past. But really, their problem is their defense right now. It's not their offense. Their defense is giving up way too many pass plays. Way too many big runs. They're not getting the stops that they need to get right now. What do you think has to get better at the defense?
Well, so much of it is just sloppy tackling. I mean, there were several times. I mean, they've given up so many third and long plays. It's really disturbing. And one of the touchdowns I've harped on this all week with people I've talked to. One of the touchdowns that Missouri State scored was the Salukis had Missouri State's quarterback trapped well behind the line of scrimmage on 2nd and 9, and the
Carl Bivens missed the tackle.
The quarterback turned back, was reversing his field, turned back into him. They missed the tackle, and he recovered and then threw the touchdown pass. Those are just plays you have to make. You can't. Getting back to the SIU looked like they're going to go on top bigger with the interception, and then the Salukis gave up a drive where they just marched the ball right down the field. They're giving up big chunks in the passing game, and there's some pretty big chunks in the running game on Saturday too. But yeah, and a lot of that could be solved. People seem to be in position to make the plays, but they're just not executing the tackles.
I thought Missouri State was the fastest team they've played this year, other than Eastern Illinois. I thought their running backs, their quarterback, even Glazer, who's more of a thrower than a runner, had some pretty good quickness. Was hard to sack. I think they only had 1 sack. Harris has that big run, only throws 2 passes, was fairly effective when he was in. And their receivers just looked like they were so much quicker than SIU's yesterday or on Saturday.
And you mentioned it, the discipline too. They really got hurt by a couple offside penalties on some critical plays where the defense made good plays, but then they were nullified because of an offside. Yeah. And your interior lineman jumping offside in a crucial situation, you just can't do it. And is that the difference between 6-4 and 5-5? Well, right now it might be.
That's when you look at the whole season. And we'll look at the season maybe after it's over. But when you look at all the games they've lost, even the ones they've won, they talk about it's only a difference of one or two plays, and most of the plays have been self-inflicted. They have been penalties, missed field goals, all these missed opportunities, and the one you're talking about, the touchdown where they almost had the sack, that's a big difference, because that sack almost doesn't knock them out of field goal range, but it puts them in a field goal position almost. And now they're down. I think they were losing at that time, and it's just you've got to make those plays when you have that opportunity.
And just the momentum swing and the change in the psyche of the game when you fail to make a play like that. If you get, they're already 2nd and 9, and they were going to lose 10 to 12 yards on that. All of a sudden it's 3rd and 21, and like you said, on whether or not they're still on the fringe of field goal range, if you come out of that and don't allow a score, I mean, that alters the game, but obviously they just haven't been making those plays.
And I have a little bit of an issue with a linebacker jumping off sides, or even a defensive end. But when the nose tackle, who's staring at the football, jumps off sides and turned out to negate a big play, I have a big problem with that. That's discipline. That's something you've gone through ever since April, and you can't make that kind of mistake. But moving forward, Illinois State, I don't expect them to be as fast as Missouri State. It's a big chance for SIU to try to get, not finish 6-6, but try to finish 7-5. Try to finish strong for these seniors that are going to be honored before the game. I'm scared there's only going to be 6,000 people there.
One of the things that's always bothered me when all the years I've been covering sports is when people say, well, the conference title's out of reach, the playoffs are probably out of reach, there's nothing to play for. I have never understood that mindset, because if we broke out a Monopoly board right now or played Scrabble, I guarantee you I'd play as hard as I could. Anytime you step on that field, your pride has got to be the motivating factor, just to do the best you can every time. There's 2 games left. If I was one of those Saluki seniors, there'd be everything in the world to play for, because I want to go out and win those last 2 games. So I've never subscribed to that. Well, there's nothing on the line here. Sure, there is. There's plenty.
No one's ever forfeited for having a losing record.
That's right.
At the very end.
That's
and
right.
Unfortunately, London's been very good in this situation where they've kind of had a dead end to the end, and they've
true.
always seemed to win the last 2
That's
games
true.
or the 3 games. They've won every single one of them. And they have a great shot at Indiana State, who's really struggling. That'll be their last game, so you never know what to expect, but they'll be heavily favored for that game next week. But moving on to basketball, Salukis played very well last night, I thought, at Missouri, considering what they had. Bronson Verhines gets in heavy foul trouble right off the bat. That's your starting forward that Barry Hinton is leaning on. He takes the seat. They got to bring Bola in. They ended up bringing Tyler Smith-Peters in quickly. Dawson Verhines saw some action in the game. Were you encouraged that almost everybody scored, or that everybody played a little bit and was fairly effective in what they had to do?
That is the encouraging thing, I think, is that you took a lot of people who really didn't show a whole lot in the 2 exhibition games, and a lot of those people played pretty well. I thought Tyler Smith-Peters was much more effective against Missouri than he was in either the exhibition games, and he didn't play poorly in the exhibitions. He just played much better last night. Yeah. Michael Balogun was not even a factor in the exhibition games, and I thought he did some things well last night. He gave him some big minutes. Jalen Pendleton didn't play a lot in the 2 exhibition games, but he had a huge. He's going to have to be the guy to me. He to me is this year's Jeff Early. He's going to be the guy who gets by on just sheer will and physicality. It's a different kind of physicality than Jeff Early's, granted, but he's got to be one of those guys that just fills up the stat sheets with assists, with rebounds, with steals, and just doing the dirty work. And, gritty guys can be pretty effective.
I wonder if he's, you watch him play and he doesn't have the energy of Jeff, but who does? Mm-hmm. And I wonder if SIU needs one player to be like that, or they can kind of play off each other and kind of just have somebody that sets the tone, like Desmar Jackson, I thought, set the tone for them. I thought Devontae was pretty vocal last night. You could hear him barking out calls on defense, and wasn't a factor offensively, I didn't think, but defensively, I thought he did what he could, what he was supposed to do.
Defensively, I think you're going to, after watching last night, there's some teams where SIU is going to have to play a lot of zone, just like they did last night.
Yeah.
When they tried to go man on Missouri, they're just the size and quickness difference was just so vastly apparent. But the Salukis really did a good job of gumming up people. And, when you're playing these elite players like that, if you can get them frustrated a little bit, that can carry you a long way. So there were a lot of encouraging things about the first game, but things aren't going to get a whole heck of a lot easier here in the next few weeks. So it's going to be interesting to see how they progress.
They'll find out a lot. They play St. Louis on Saturday. That game is at 7:05 at the arena, so you can get the football basketball doubleheader if you wish to stick around Carbondale on Saturday. But that's going to be another tough game. But when they're playing at home, I like their chances of at least being in the game and being competitive. And then they go to Austin Peay and play Missouri Science and Technology right before that tournament in Florida, which is part of that tournament in Florida. And those are two winnable games. So I'd like to see how they do on Saturday. Possibly get a split and get some momentum going towards the road.
Well, this team's got some possibilities. There's certainly a lot of question marks with nine new guys, but you have to be a little bit encouraged by what you saw the first time around.
I was, and I hope you were too. Both football and basketball games will be on the Saluki Radio Network. We will be following along as a live scoring on our website, southern.com. And tune in next week. Thanks for joining us.